Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a Bollinger chart. Now the Bollinger chart takes from the concept of Bollinger Bands, and it's a technical analysis tool primarily used in the stock market or financial markets, and it was invented by a fellow named John Bollinger in the 80s. And the purpose of the Bollinger Band is to provide the relative definition between high and low prices. Now, by definition, the prices are high at the upper band. So, for example, the upper band would be this red line here, and they would be low at this lower band, which is the green band here, or this green line here. Now, these bands are based off of a moving average. So basically, it's some standard deviations away from a moving average. And this moving average is represented by this black line, which is a 20-day moving average. That's kind of the, I guess, the normal that is used to determine the Bollinger Band. So you have a 20-day moving average, and basically the upper and lower bands are about 2 standard deviations away from the moving average. Now, I'm not a technical analyst in terms of a finance, but this particular chart just shows kind of the basics of how to create a Bollinger chart based off of the Bollinger Bands concept. In addition, the Bollinger Bands, this concept is used also outside of finance. You can see some instances where it's used in manufacturing and also avionics. There's some citations where it was used in other industries outside of finance. So let's see how we go about creating a Bollinger chart. Let me go ahead and show you an example here. Now, this is a table of the S&P 500, the high, low, and the closing prices of the Standard & Poor's from January 1st to, I believe, the end of March for 2015. And you can just get this off of any finance sites, maybe Yahoo or Google Finance, and you can just probably plug in the numbers here. Now, we're going to use this portion of the table, the date, the high, low, and close, to create a stock chart. So inherent in Excel, there is a stock chart where we can create this data from. Now, the other data that we need to kind of input is this simple moving average, this SMA. And so this is basically our 20-day moving average. So we're taking the moving average of the close prices of the last 20 days. So that's going to be this particular amount, this particular range of cells here. We also need to take a standard deviation of the population for that closing price. So basically, there is a function in Excel where we can take the standard deviation. Now, for the upper and lower bands, to chart out those lines, what we're going to do is we're going to take multiples of 2 of the standard deviation, and depending if it's the upper band or lower band, we're going to add the moving average, or we're going to subtract the moving average. So let me go ahead and show you how the calculations here are done. Let me go and just create a new sheet here. And let me go ahead and bring over this data here. Let me go ahead and select that. Control Shift down arrow to select everything. Control C to copy. Let me go to sheet 2 here. Control V to paste. Let me go ahead and double click to auto fit that. Let me also bring over the headings here. I'm going to bring the headings over here. Control C to copy, and then Control V to paste. Now let me go ahead and select these columns, double click to auto fit. Now, what we need to do for this simple moving average is we're going to assume a 20-day moving average. So I'm just going to take these 20 days. You can see that once I selected this range of cells, you can see that's the count of 20. So I'm going to start here in this cell. So basically, it's going to be an average. So I'm going to use the average function in Excel. Let me go and double click that and select this range of cells. Now, I'm going to keep the dollar signs. I'm not going to enter any dollar signs in front of the D2 and between D2 to D21s, because this will be a relative cell reference. So what happens is when I copy it down, this will shift. It'll still have a count of 20 days, but it will shift down from D3 to D22 and D4 to D25. You'll see it when I go ahead and execute this command. So if I press enter, we'll have our average for these 20 days. So if I click this range or select this range, you'll see that the average here is 2028, and it coincides with the formula here. So let me go ahead and click the fill handle or bring it down here, and you'll see that when I select in that cell, the average, it didn't move since it's an absolute cell reference range. It went from D3 to D22, which is this set of 20. And if I look over here and select this range, you'll see that it does give the same calculation amount, 20, 26, 31. Let me go ahead and escape to get out of that. So all I need to do now is click this fill handle, double click the fill handle, and it's going to copy the formula all the way down. So we notice that we have our data going down to March 31st, the end of March here. So that is for the simple moving average. What I need to do now is calculate a standard deviation, and there is a function in Excel where you can calculate the standard deviation. So I can just press equal ST standard deviation. So I want to do this one right here. If I go ahead and select that, you can see it calculates the standard deviation based on the entire population. So that's the one that we need to use. Let me go ahead and double click that to fill it out there. And so the number I need to get is also this 20, these range of 20 cells. So I'll go ahead and click enter and go ahead and double click that. Whoop, let me go ahead and double click this to fill it, to auto fit that. Now let me go ahead and double click to bring the formula down. So it's also going to calculate the formula down and also adjust the range in this set of 20 cells, D3 to D22, and you can see here D4 to D23. So I need to go ahead and calculate the upper band. So the upper band, that's going to be equal to the simple moving average plus, so it's going to be in addition to the twice of the standard deviation. So it's 2 times the standard deviation. Press enter, and so I'll go ahead and double click that to fill it down. So it's going to click and fill the formula down, and that's for the upper band. So let me do the same for the lower band. So instead of addition, we're going to do subtraction. So this is going to equal the moving average minus 2 times the standard deviation. Right? So go ahead and press enter, click on that cell, double click the fill handle here to copy it down, and we have our lower band now. So if you look at this first set of data, it should coincide with what I did earlier here: 21, 43, 271, 05, 1985, 30, 30, 36. So let me go ahead and go back up here, and we have 21, 44, 207, 105, 1985. So it matches it. The only difference is it got rounded. So I'm going to go ahead and round these numbers. Let me go ahead and just select this cell, these range of cells, and round the numbers to the hundreds place. So let me go ahead and round the number. Whoops. Let me see if that works. Let me go ahead and go and round these numbers. All right, so it's rounded to the hundredth place. And we've got our 2144, 207, 105, 1985, 30. So they match these numbers here. So what I need to do now is, let me go ahead and go back up. I need to create a stock market chart first based on these 4 columns. So I'm going to go and select from A1 to D1 and Control Shift down arrow to select this range and go ahead and insert a stock chart. So if we go to insert and we go to charts group here, you don't see the stock chart here initially. We need to go to this launcher here, and it's going to launch up the insert chart window, and we want to go to all charts. And all charts, we want to select the stock chart. And so we just have our high, a low, and close column. So we're going to go ahead and select that, and that's already selected. So I'll just go ahead and click OK. And the chart's there. Let me go ahead and actually move this chart up a little bit. I don't want to be at the bottom there. So let me go ahead and move this chart up here to the top. Whoops. Where did our chart go? Okay, let me go ahead and move this chart up to the top here, and so I can select some of the data better. I'm going to move it up here. Unfortunately, I should have selected a cell closer up here before I created that chart. All right, so we have our chart here. Let me go ahead and make it a little bit bigger here. A little bit bigger here. All right. So we have our stock chart, our high, low, and close. Basically, our high is at that point, the low is at that point, and this little dot here is the close point. So what we need to do is we need to add another chart that encompasses this data, the SMA, the simple moving average, the upper and lower bands. Now, with a stock chart, you can't really combine another chart in there. There's this concept of creating a combination chart where we might have a column chart and a line chart in one, but the stock chart doesn't let you do that. It doesn't let you combine a chart. But there's a workaround where we can actually insert data in there and combine or create lines to join the points together and make it almost look like a combination chart, but really it's not. But it will still have the same effect of looking like a combination chart. So we'll see how we can do that. So what I need to do is go ahead and select the chart, and the chart tools is activated. I can just actually either go into design, or I can just right click and go under select data. So we have select data here, and we also have select data here. So I'll go and just right click and select data, And what I want to do is I want to add additional series of data. I want to add 3. I want to add one for the SMA, one for the upper band, and one for the lower band. So let's go ahead and add the SMA first. I'll click Add. Now I have the series name, which is going to be the SMA here, the moving average. The values, let me go ahead and delete this, is going to be E2 all the way down to the last one here, which is E62. Let me go ahead and click OK. And then what I want to do here is I want to edit this horizontal category axis, because right now this series is looking at this horizontal category axis labels 1, 2, and 3, but I wanted to go ahead and reference the same labels as the other ones here. So if I click on close, you can see it references the dates, and it's not doing that for the SMA. So I'm going to go ahead and edit that and select the label range and going up from A62 to A2 to A62. So click OK. And that is there. It should show up now. So I've got the SMA. I need to add the other one, so I'm going to go ahead and add the upper band. Go and click on the series name, the upper band, and the series value. Delete that, and go ahead and click on G2 and go all the way down to G62. And then click OK, and also do the same where we are editing the horizontal axis labels for the dates. So the date range A2 to A62. Let me go ahead and select that, press enter for OK, and that's set for that upper band. Also now add the lower band. So I'm going to add the lower band here, and let me go ahead and select the series name, which is the lower band here. The series value, let me delete that, and it's going to be a H2 to H62 here, and go ahead and press enter or click OK. And for the horizontal axis labels, I need to edit that. Go from A2 to A62 and select that range, and go ahead and click OK or press enter. And I should be set for these. So if I click on these and double check, they should all have the correct horizontal category axis, right? And so that's the upper band, and the lower band was the last one that we did. So I'll go ahead and click OK. And what you see here is it doesn't seem to show up. But the reason why it doesn't show up is because there's a point here for it, and it's not really showing up. What we need to do now is we need to select it. And it seems like there's not an easy way to select it. So what we can do is we have the chart selected. We go under the Format tab, and under the Format tab, we can go to the current selection group, and we can start selecting it there. So there's this drop down that shows all the elements within the chart. So the first one we're going to do is the series one. So once we click on that, it gets highlighted. We see that it's highlighted here. And what we want to do is we want to create a line that joins these points together. So we'll go to Format Selection, and under the Fill and Line, we're going to choose Solid Line. And Solid Line, I'm just going to choose a black color. And select that, and then now we have our line that shows the moving average. So let me go ahead and choose our next series, which is going to be the upper band. So once I choose the upper band, we see that we have our upper band highlighted, and I want to have a line for that too. So I'm going to choose solid line, and that's going to be red. Let me choose the red one. And then we're going to do the same for the lower band. So let me go ahead and choose the lower band series, and also choose solid line and make that green. So we'll make that green, right? And so we go ahead and click close this pane here, and now we have our Bollinger chart. Some things with the legend that we probably need to adjust or modify. We don't need this high and low. I'm going to go ahead and select the legend here, and then click it again to select it, and you can see that this particular series label in the legend is highlighted. I'm going to press delete, and same with the low. Click that and double click it again, press delete, click on the legend, and then click on the close text and press delete. And so now all I have is my moving average, the 20-day moving average, and then my upper band, which is red here, and my lower band, which is green here. And all I need to do is probably now just change the title. I'll call this S&P Bollinger chart. Right? Delete that, and then just click outside. And I probably don't need these grid lines. I'll go select the grid line, press delete. And we have our Bollinger chart. And we can see that we have our highs and lows. The lines here represent the high, that's low, and this little dot here represents the close. And you can see here that some of the closing prices are near the high end, and some of them are near the low end or below the moving average. So depending on the perspective of trading, some folks may want to see that if the closing prices are all going near the high, they probably want to sell, or maybe if it's above the moving average, they probably want to think about selling, and if it's below the moving average or closer to the lower band, maybe thinking about buying. So it just depends on the perspective and the strategy that's being used. And this is basically just a tool to look at the volatility and get some idea between high and low and what would be appropriate prices to buy or sell. So that's how we can go about creating a Bollinger chart based off of the Bollinger Band concept from John Bollinger. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.